You go on.
Alright.
Okay.
It is 6:04. I will now call to order the September 9th, 2019 meeting of the Easthampton Conservation Commission. The meeting is being recorded. Are there any public concerns, non-agenda items? Being none, and before we go into public hearings and meetings, with us tonight is the city's new conservation agent, Cassie Traggart. You can
Hi.
Hi.
maybe introduce yourselves briefly.
Jay Ryan.
Mike Whittemore.
Dan Buttrick.
Julie Busa.
Melissa Cody. Okay. We'll cover more under general business.
Okay, great.
Okay. So, moving on to public hearings and meetings. Public meeting, request for determination of applicability filed by W. Merrick, Inc. for an undeveloped property located on Colonial Avenue, map 128, lot 121. Applicant is seeking a determination of applicability for work related to proposed development of multifamily units relative to limits of Wetlands Protection Act jurisdiction within a specified area of the subject site as filed with the Conservation Commission. Is there anyone here for this tonight? Great. Could you reintroduce yourselves for the record, please? Thank you.
Dan Ritchie, GZA.
Emily Holmberg, Holmberg and Howe.
Thank you. So some members of the commission were present for a site visit this evening at 5:15. Anyone want to?
Julie and I were there.
Okay.
Michael was running Little League.
Yeah, I was running incognito through the woods.
Okay. So does anyone want to recap the site visit?
So we entered from, I'm forgetting the name of the street again.
Colonial?
Colonial Ave.
Yes.
And basically walked down sort of southeast through the site, to where it borders the, Courtney property. So coming down through this direction. And Dan showed us a point, I'm guessing probably somewhere around here, where there's a pipe that comes out.
Yeah, that sounds about right, where the concentration is,
Full size.
sort of scour starting, it's
Yeah.
probably right about in here.
So that's the pipe that's coming out. It was
Oh,
like a 4-inch.
okay. Is it PVC?
Yeah.
Yes, so it's more recent than
Just
finishing.
does anyone know where that pipe originates?
We do not.
It aims towards a house, so I don't know if it's but there's clearly some good flow that comes out of there, because right at the bottom of that is where the real scour actually starts on the topography.
There's this.
Yeah, it's aiming towards the house on the Messier property.
Okay.
It's in here that's coming out.
But it's very clearly within the limits of the subject parcel?
Yes.
No,
The
no,
pipe?
the pipe
No?
is down here. The pipe is coming out of this house, the Messier property.
Oh.
Is the discharge point within the subject parcel or not?
It's not.
Outside.
It's outside.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, so I
because-
was
Yeah, I
pointing
interpreted
the wrong
it Sarah.
place then,
Yes.
sorry.
Yeah, the parcel ends,
It's kind of where that bend is in the,
um,
that line.
yeah,
So it's kind of down there a little bit.
probably, yeah.
What scale is this? 40?
Yes.
It's got it right here.
Yeah,
It's gotta be more than
it's
40
in
feet
this,
away.
yeah,
But either way, it's not on the subject property.
Okay.
Right.
right.
Okay. And
Was
so-
it within it wasn't within where you were showing the buffer though, I don't think.
Yeah, if you think about the other point that was on this map, do you have the older delineation?
I thought I had a copy of
Well, this was a
that.
146-foot move, straight line move, so I'm
Yeah,
not sure
but-
that'd be 7 inches, 6
That's the,
inches.
that's the
Probably this
new
current
one.
It's
That's the
probably
new one.
current.
We're
The
looking-
old one?
The older one, yeah.
Meaning-
Right, so the older one, the most northerly wetland flag was in this general,
Just off the property.
Just off
so
the
like
property.
right there was where
And the
the
pipe
2006
was-
delineation was, and the pipe is up
the
right,
pipe was south of that.
just south of that, you're right.
By quite a bit, cause I joined
So
you
that's
somewhere
about
here,
where
yeah.
that flag was.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the question is, are there areas subject to protection or jurisdiction within the limits of the subject parcel?
And I think, I mean, Dan certainly thinks no.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a story that contradicts that.
Okay.
Yeah, the first place that we observed hydric soil is where my flag is for obvious reasons, that's why it's down there.
Which
But-
is well over 100 feet. Away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's an obvious scour channel coming from that pipe going down, but there's no hydric soil in there, and the channel itself doesn't have any vegetation in it. There's a couple of jewelweeds in there, but not very much. So I described to the commission members at the time that I would call this an upgradient bank area.
Mm-hmm.
Jay has other photos too.
Yeah, I mean, this is larger. So it looks like water flows through that area,
Quite a bit.
but there's not a lot of plant life, even on the sides of the bank, just because there's, 50-foot high maple trees blocking everything.
Yeah, we picked an area, it's not in that particular shot, but we picked an area that had a little bit of a shelf next to the channel with a skunk cabbage in it. I dug down 18 inches, we didn't have hydric soil till we were down about 18 inches.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So we couldn't find a BVW next to the channel to
Right.
try to create an upgradient, to get rid of the upgradient bank idea. So I think that is the BVW, starting there and everything's upgraded.
Okay. So is there any further discussion? Cassie, do you have the file for this Columbia Avenue project?
Form 2 or 1?
2.
You are?
I've got some more full-size of the new ones that stand if you want.
That would be
To
helpful.
replace, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you-
Yeah, I think I could think so.
Thank you. All right. So. So is there, seeing that there are no wetland resource areas or buffer zones extending onto the subject parcel, which is limited to map 128, lot 121. Would anyone care to make a motion to issue a negative determination to that effect?
Motion to issue a negative determination type 1 that the area described in the request is not an area subject to protection under the Act or buffer zone.
I'll second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
Thank you.
All right, so if you'll wait a few moments, you can do the paperwork. You can go if you really want to, but,
Very nice, we'll take the paperwork.
And do you want me to make a copy of that?
yep,
Yeah.
that would be perfect. So, and I assume you'll give the original to the,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Emily
take
takes
the
care of it,
original
yeah.
and I'll get it to the attorney to do whatever he needs to do with
well,
it.
this is, fortunately doesn't need to be recorded.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I've already finished.
Your initials will be corrected next time, I promise. You want to exit out? Julie excuse me.
Julie. Julie, let me go alone.
You should have to sign up for Jay.
Poor Jay.
Need a bigger box.
That's right, the signature's not too big, the box is too small.
Correct.
Oh, I can't see anybody's signature.
All right, I'll make the copy.
Okay. Perfect, thank you. All right. Jay, this is yours. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have that next one, next time.
Michael. She's admiring the cat.
It's special.
Yes.
Very
It is
special.
Very special.
Holds a lot of meaning. hand clarify what the actor's name? Parks and Recreation?
Guy with the big beard.
Nick Offerman.
Mm-hmm. Clarify Nick Offerman.
Is it a beard thing?
It is. No.
It's machine made.
Yeah.
It was a good skip though.
But did you see my friends? Somebody used to move on.
No, I didn't look. I went right back to the photo. I didn't.
Perhaps we'll have one of these.
Mm.
That's beautiful.
I kind of found, here's the pictures, and then we can check them.
Yes. Oh, that's very nice.
I think we found a pretzel lover.
What do you have planted here too?
Those are blueberries, which were intentional.
Uh-huh.
And this was last year's Halloween pumpkin, but is now a 70-foot-long vine with 12 pumpkins, so it was a good return on investment. If anybody needs one. They're about this big.
Yeah. I planted raspberries last year, and they did great last year. And then I think I totally screwed them up because it said to cut them back completely because they only produce berries on new growth. And so it grew like crazy this year, and I didn't get a single raspberry.
Figured it out.
Okay, so is this
That's
the
the
original?
original.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have a stapler anywhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, thank you.
I almost wonder if I don't know, I'm not even gonna guess.
Well, how far down did you cut them?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
a couple inches above, or like right to the ground?
Right to, yeah.
You may have cut the crown on some of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, that was a problem.
Leave a little stubble.
Mm-hmm. Will they,
Oh.
well, next
They'll
year.
figure it out.
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
Thank you.
I'm figuring, yeah.
I mean,
Nick?
they're gonna keep trying to grow.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, so they may be stunted, but they'll eventually come back.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
no, they're this tall and, 6 feet
Spread
wide.
bushy.
Yeah, yeah, just not a single raspberry.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
All right, try and
It's
get
always
there
the
together.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Phil. All right, moving on. Next item on the agenda, public meeting, request for determination of applicability filed by Cynthia Stepler for the property located at 67 and 73 Loudville Road, map 140, lots 28 and 29, and map 139, lot 11. Applicant is seeking a determination of applicability for confirmation of the delineated wetland resource area boundaries subject to the Wetland Protection Act jurisdiction within the subject properties as filed with the Conservation Commission. Good evening.
Hi.
Could you please introduce yourselves for the record?
Sure, Ryan Nelson from Arlo Vex Associates.
Great.
John Stepler.
Mr. Stettler, could you take a moment at some point and sign in? Thank you. Your item preview.
All right, so quick recap, the request for determination of wetland boundaries only. We had a site visit Saturday morning. Two members were there and we walked all the wetland boundaries, isolated and the border and vegetated ones. I don't believe there are any issues or questions raised at that time. If anyone else has anything further.
I guess, who,
I
Julie?
was not there, I
Okay.
apologize
Michael
wholeheartedly.
and I were there. So.
Okay. So what were your observations?
Well, there's certainly wetlands in boundaries all over the place, but I mean, I think the flagging looked correct.
With regard to the areas on adjacent properties, was property owner authorization
Yes, we-
obtained?
Yeah, we had, you had signed
Written signatures.
Okay.
written signatures to go on their property to
Is
see
it
those
something you can
areas.
forward to the commission?
Mhm,
Okay,
most definitely.
that would be good. So.
Yep, and we did take a look at those.
Okay. So there, in these areas, I just wonder, is it defined by topography?
This one certainly is, that's a
Is that
pretty
the
noticeable
Edward
depression,
Gall?
yes.
Or, yes, Edward.
Yep, but
Um,
there is water staining, there's hydric
Mhm.
vegetation there as well as there, so.
It looks like one of those clay dig out areas that
Mhm.
was on Mr. Gall's property.
So was this area boundary also reviewed? across the
We
street?
did not, no.
Yeah, we did not go across the street there.
So, do we have any questions, comments, concerns?
I don't have any concerns, but
I apologize, I overslept and knew I would never find you guys.
You wouldn't have found that either.
Yeah.
that was a bigger walk than tonight.
Okay. Is this area, can you talk about that area, the isolated area there?
Sure.
Because that's not an area subject to the Wetlands Protection
Mhm.
Act.
Mixed hardwoods and coniferous forest area. Definitely a depression, not as drastic as over here,
Mhm.
but same thing, hydric soils, wetland vegetation, water stained leaves. There was no inlet or outlet, no scouring, exiting or entering.
And there's no pipe connecting?
Nope, no, we
these?
did look for that, or I looked for it.
Okay. So this area was not reviewed. Flags F100 to 105.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It's visible from the road, if
Tr-
the
true,
flags are
it's
still there.
just,
Yeah, I understand.
um,
Yep.
And then, and this area is a vegetated wetland and not,
An isolated vegetated, correct.
right, and it doesn't meet the definition of ILSF?
Correct.
And the same with that
Correct.
one. Was there any evidence like that would hold standing water?
I didn't see any drift marks or you could see an
Mhm.
elevation of water was. It definitely gets inundated, but
Sorry, I just need to pull this a little
Mhm.
closer. It's hard to see. In this area as well, the D series. Thank you.
that did not have any, evidence of inundation or water staining, but it did have hydric soils and plants.
What was the vegetation?
Red maples, I believe it was, raised roots.
So, the E series is IVW, and that's E100 to E115, and it's a closed
Mm-hmm.
loop.
Mm-hmm.
The D series, D100 to D103, is an IVW that's a closed loop.
Correct.
And the C series, C100 to C107,
Mhm.
is also a closed loop. And so I guess just for the record, the isolated vegetated wetlands are not subject to the Wetlands Protection Act. They are subject to other jurisdictions. So, the commission reviewed the A series, A100 to A124, which is open-ended.
Correct.
And then, oh dear.
Hmm.
Do you have a summary of this?
Yeah, yeah, it was.
So you have, so the B series starts at, I'm trying
Didn't
to.
start at that end, sorry. 100 it should be.
B100 to, which is,
B 169, which
Yeah.
is.
And
Yep,
those
in
are
the
also
narrative of the
open-ended.
application, they're all listed out.
yeah, I just wanna make sure we
Yep.
get it for the minutes. And then, mean annual high water. It starts with 90,
Actually 85.
85.
It's off the property.
Did we have permission for that property?
No, we didn't go that
So
far.
starting with 90?
Correct.
Okay. 90 through, do we have permission to be over here?
We did not go onto the property there, but it was observable from the top of the slope where we were.
But we would be going back to MAHW 174.
Correct, yes.
Okay,
That's the
and
last one along property.
so we should also be excluding B100 through B106 because they're off property.
Correct.
And so basically we can't, if we don't have that property owner's permission, we can't make a decision on their property. But it's, I don't think it affects the riverfront that you're showing here. Or buffer zone. And then there's a B-134 series,
Mm-hmm.
B-134A through Q.
Correct.
Okay. And no, those were, no. And bank, 100 through,
One.
is the bank separate from the B?
Correct, it's
Yes.
separate, and it's a upgrading stream, so technically not regulated.
Did you look at that, Jay?
We walked through there, yes.
Okay, and there's no vegetation or hydric soils?
I don't know if there were hydric soils in there,
There weren't,
There
we
weren't,
checked,
okay.
but it's not fed from anywhere.
but didn't, yeah, there was no, you couldn't see it being fed from anything.
Could you tell what formed this feature, or how that feature formed?
It's probably, it was what, over 30 feet deep.
Yeah, it was
so
deep.
It's,
Do you know what soils are out here, according to the soil survey?
in that area, it's either Ripplewam, fine sandy loam, or Windsor Citico. One of those three.
Thank you. Sorry, I just wanna- Oops. Where's this building? Not seeing it. It's right
Is that
here,
it?
yeah. So, it might be following this picture.
Mm-hmm.
That's this one.
Yeah.
The one that's the one, this one. The bank flags.
Yep, you're right. And that's still
Out here.
kind of, that's what you're saying, it's either one or the other.
Yeah.
But it's probably, given the steepness of the slope, it's probably not an A, no, so. It drops off.
Most definitely.
Is this area generally the same
Mm-hmm.
grade?
Yeah, it's about the same grade as the field.
So you were saying that those bank, did you get the bank flags, the BNK 100 series flags noted?
I have 100
100
to
through
116.
116.
Is not jurisdictional bank under the Wetlands Protection Act. Due to the absence of upgradient resource areas. Can you just read the beginning of each series we talked about in the minutes? Just make sure that they're all in there. That'd be awesome, thank you.
All right, I've been doing my best here.
And
So I
I'm
have,
checking.
I have the C and the E series are isolated vegetated wetlands, not subject to Wetlands Protection Act. Both areas of hydric soils, wetland vegetation, no inlet or outlet present, but no pipe connection been observed.
Did we mention the D series?
And the D series is an IBW, that is
Okay.
a closed loop as well. I didn't really get as much detail on that. A series is an open-ended BVW. Mean annual high water begins at flags, mean annual high water 90 through mean annual high water 174.
Yeah.
They're on property,
Yes.
yes. And then I get a little mixed up. So flags B100 to D106 are off property and to be excluded.
Yes.
And I didn't get the numbers on this end.
So then it's B10, beginning with B107 through B166.
Six.
Are reviewed.
Got reviewed as being on the property. There's also B134A.
Hold on, I just messed everything up here. Okay, I'm back on track here. What?
B134A through B134Q.
Yep, I got that. That's on property bank also.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, those are not.
That was bank or BBW?
BBW.
Those are BBW,
BBW.
thank you.
Yep, all right, thank you. And then Flags Bank, 100 to 116. There are deep and below steep slope, there's no clear hydrologic connection, is thus not jurisdiction by hydrologic protection after the
Up
absence
gradient,
of upgrading
Okay.
resource areas.
got it.
Yes.
Okay. And we are noting that the off-site F-series wetland are not requested to be determined as part of this file.
Yep.
Okay.
It's actually stated for these too, but they were looked at and reviewed. Are these meant to be determined?
The actual resource area, no, but the buffer zone on too.
But I guess that's where I get a little hung up, because if the buffer zone's based on the boundary,
At the time, we didn't have permission from the
Yeah.
owners, so that's why I put the note, but now we do, so
Okay.
that's, I guess after the fact,
do you know where the 6-inch PVC outfall is coming from?
I do not know.
Is there any other PVC outfall? Okay.
I don't think we saw any, right?
We didn't go in the wetland on that,
Oh, okay.
it's off the proper where the guy was cutting wood.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there any further questions, comments, discussion? Okay, being none, would anyone care to make a motion?
What's the motion?
Well, do you have the form for this one, Cassie? Can you pass that down?
You are.
Oh, thank you. So we're being asked to confirm boundaries as accurate and boundaries that are not part of, that are not being confirmed as part of this. So these are technically positive determinations.
Okay.
So confirming is accurate would be a positive 2A. And determining that are, or boundaries listed, that we would list below, that are not confirmed are part of 2B.
And this stands then for 3 years.
And this is valid for 3 years.
What you said made
Unless
no
there's a
sense to me.
mutual
Bear, can you,
error of
try?
fact.
I only heard half of what you said. So it's a part A and a part B, part A for some things. and-
2A, positive 2A
Yep.
is confirmation of boundaries, positive 2B is not boundaries that are not being confirmed.
Yep, got it.
Got it?
Got it.
So how do we say the motion?
Well, you might have to someone might have to reiterate the minutes, or refer to the minutes and fill it
Yes.
out later.
So the motion on the table would be, had somebody made it, to issue a positive determination of applicability number 2A. to
2A.
Confirm certain boundaries, and a positive determination number 2B, not confirming other certain boundaries,
Right, so I'll make a
as
motion.
discussed previously.
Right, so I'll make a motion 2A to confirm boundaries as discussed, and a motion 2B to confirm, non-confirmed boundaries as discussed.
Sounds good.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Just start. Do you want to hand the page with the, yeah, hand, or the whole rest of it down here? All right.
Yep.
Do you wanna read it back to me? This is- Will you accept this by hand delivery?
Yes.
To benefit of being here. Alright, so, Mr. Patrick,
Ahoy.
so we are, so. Okay. 100 to A, 121.
You want me to read this back again?
Yes, please.
Okay. So what do you want?
Not conforming,
Not conforming.
not confirming.
Not confirming. Not confirming, geez, I didn't write it down that
You
way.
don't have all of that.
Yeah.
You don't have all the numbers.
When I say off-site,
Yes.
well,
It's
we're
the-
confirming
oh,
these
we are confirming
because
it too.
they got permission. So it's A 100 to A 120,
Oh,
But that is
Well, no.
confirming.
but we got their permission too. Yes, so why don't we do confirming? Why don't we start with A?
So A100 to A24.
We didn't have permission for A 124, A 120,
Oops, sorry.
it's just, 120.
121.
Thank you.
And then B107 to 166.
It's also BBW,
mm-hmm.
okay.
We're not talking about C or D, right?
Although we're confirming that they're isolated,
Okay.
so,
So then C100 to C107. D100 to D103.
Okay.
Included the E's, right?
yes.
E100 to 115. B134A to B134Q. And BNK 100 to BNK 116.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, can you say that again?
BNK 100 to BNK 116.
That's right. Clear that up here too.
On jurisdictional, and then median high water.
Oh, yeah. Which is 90 through 174.
Yep.
Okay, so then we have B 100 through 105. 6. Okay, median high water, 175 through 177.
And also median high water 85 to 89.
Mm-hmm.
And the F100 to F105. And then a couple scattered ones at the ends of A.
Sorry, what was their flat second median high water number?
Sorry.
7.
85 to 89.
89.
Thank you. And then,
F100 to 105.
got it.
And did you get
No, A,
122 to 124?
okay. Make sure I'm getting these in the right order. Thank you. One moment, please. Thank you.
Do you wanna just drop off those original signatures from the neighbors? To the conservation office?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's do that.
Note on them what they pertain to, just in case it's not there.
Where's the office for that?
It's the planning department.
So someone's there.
Someone will be in the planning department tomorrow morning. The next time any conservation staff will be there will be Thursday afternoon after 2.
So either tomorrow morning or Thursday, they'll be here.
Okay. Oh, where'd it go? It's right here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's the original for you.
Thank you.
It's yours. Yours.
Okay.
Thank you both for your
Thank
time.
you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
So,
Moving on.
Let me take a picture of this poster.
Sure. I'm gonna grab this a little bit of.
I like learning.
Stop by anytime.
The vernal pool.
Thank you.
Okay, are we ready to move on?
Wendy is out.
Alright. Next item on the agenda, enforcement actions. Murder Gall, 37 South Street. Any updates? None. Bernard Gall, vicinity of Groveland Street, Florence Road, map 115, lot 2, map 128, lot 64, Mass DEP ACOP 0001958. No updates. Autumn Properties LLC, rear 161, 165 Northampton Street. Mr. Boyle, do you have a moment to
Yep.
for us to ask you about that one?
Go ahead.
161 to 165 Northampton Street.
Yeah,
There's an open,
right, I understand that Mark Lee's handling it, but I understand he's waiting for the end of the growing season.
okay. So end of this growing season, we should expect to hear from Mark Reed?
I hope so, yes.
Okay, fantastic, thank you.
Yeah.
Next item, Cernak, Westview Terrace, map 165, lot 47. We're just waiting for the end of this growing season for the next update. Next item, Kaufman, 298 Loudville Road, map 120, lot 11, EO 2019-001. Is there anyone here for this item? Okay, would you like to come up and join us, please? And if you haven't already signed in, please do so. And then you can introduce yourself for the record. And help yourself to come up.
Thanks.
Can't have one.
And you can just put this under 4E. Thank you. Thank you. All right, welcome.
Thank you.
Do you have any updates for us? Would you like to introduce yourselves for the record
Sure.
since we are,
Agnes Kaufman. Thank you.
My name is Ed Cyrus. I'm with Northeast Environmental Solutions, part of Taylor Davis Landscape Company of Amherst. And I'm here because the Kaufmans and I were talking about using a living wall on their property, which we'd done on the neighbor's property a dozen years ago. And tell them a little thing on.
oh, you like that.
And when I called the Conservation Commission just to see if anyone wanted to talk about it and see what we had to go through to begin, we found out there was an order of enforcement on the Kaufmans. We wanted to come clear that up before we begin any further work.
Excellent. So can you, so you have the enforcement order. It was issued at our last meeting. Is that your address?
I didn't get.
Yeah, the one I have is from July. But
Yes.
You were invited in July.
Well, okay. Cassie, can you make a note to follow up on that paperwork?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's basically saying, don't do anything else, come to us with your plan.
Right.
So you plan on filing a
Well,
permit
we're-
application
well-
to,
Presently, we're negotiating right now, so we haven't signed anything yet, but rather than the hard armor she was proposing last year, she talked to her neighbor and discussed doing a living wall instead. The property is eroding very badly. It's about a 15-foot drop right now off the back of their yard that goes down to a slope, which is about 75 feet from the river. So I knew it was an area of jurisdiction, so I called you to talk about that. And what they found about the Enforcement Act was they didn't do the hard armoring, and her husband went down and tried to put some bars down, some wooden bars, to kind of stop the erosion from happening. And that's what happened, but that has ceased and desisted and won't be happening again. But we'd like to propose doing this, but we'd have to go through a notice of intent and all that.
yeah.
My question was, because we'd have to do a notice of intent to do this work anyway, if she decided not to go with this, just do this for your benefit, what would she need to do if we didn't follow through with this?
So the order that we discussed and signed at our last meeting, and we'll follow up on where that paperwork stands, because I thought that had
I
gotten
think
sent out.
an envelope they returned to us tonight, it's on, it might be locked now in the other office.
Okay, well,
It's on the
we
desk.
can follow up on that. Basically saying, you need to come up with something, and we put, I believe, October 1st as a date, because we didn't want to
To
leave it
tell you what-
open-ended for another winter season.
Sure. Tell you what is proposed, you mean, what she's proposing to do?
Yeah.
Does that mean notice of intent has to be to you by October 1st?
That would be, we need to know that there's a schedule to move forward
Sure.
with action.
Well, I came tonight just to see how to move forward with this. And when we leave here tonight, what I have to do is speak to a civil engineer that we have working with us. He would be making the design for us. And in the meantime, I'd be coming up with a final price for the cow fence, and we discuss that. And if they agree with the final price, then we would put together a notice of intent with a stamped plan and come see you at that time. We don't expect this to happen until spring, because of the time
The
of year.
work.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but if the design is finalized and the permits are in place, then,
Oh, absolutely.
then that's progress.
Right, so when we leave here, like I said, I'll contact my engineer to talk to him real quick, and then I'll get some pricing out to Agnes, and if she agrees to it, then we'll begin the process.
Could I ask about the neighbor's property? When did that project happen?
12 years ago, I think it was, maybe 13 years ago. Very similar project, smaller in size, and actually when the Kaufmans called me out about a year or two ago to look at it, it was a similar project in size, about a 30-foot long wall, but since then it's expanded to almost 100-foot long. It's so much more if it's eroded. And it's very simple. Facade is like invoice stuff. You can actually get pictures of when we have installed the wall before at the next door neighbor's house. It's a very similar process. We work from the top of the hill. We don't come in from the bottom. We don't bring any heavy equipment down the hill. Basically what happens is we have...
Do you wrap soil lifts?
Yeah, we wrap soil lifts in a polypropylene sock, and we vegetate it. We have geogrid going back into the wall surface, so it holds it tight. We have drainage at the bottom. And what we do is we basically go down, create a bench just by reaching down, create an even bench down the bottom, and then begin blowing. We do it with a blower truck, where we blow these socks into place. They're 12-inch socks, but after compaction, they're 8 inches. And we just begin to pile them, and then we put geogrid down into the wall, as they hold back. And as we're going, we backfill it with natural fill. The socks are actually made of a compost loam that we vegetate in the end, and then at the top we would just vegetate it as well. Below the surface, where it's very sandy still, we would be blowing an inch or two of green leaf compost, and we use that because we don't want to bring any foreign seed and invasive species, that sort of thing. And we use them, on this we use a mix of some native seed, but it's a lot of fescue because it works well on the wall. And down below we'd be doing a mixture of fescue and native seed as well. And that would hopefully stabilize the slope below, and this would eventually vegetate. And just like the neighbor's house has been holding well now for a dozen years or so, just a very nice green solution.
Which neighbor is that? Do you recall?
Brian Rust, he's on the right-hand side, I don't know what, you know his house number by chance?
Retired
We're,
officer.
yes, it's 298, so they're 300.
Yeah. Yeah, I sent Ken a whole bunch of
Okay.
pictures of
Ken
Williams.
will be here on Thursday.
That's fine.
So this would be a good item to
Yeah.
follow up on. I just want to get the address in case, so that
Yeah, no problem.
the commission can look at its files and
Yep.
use that as a point of reference.
Yeah, but we sent a whole bunch of pictures when we actually did the installation, there, just so you can see how it's done. It's a very similar condition. Like I said, the size is grown, but other than that, it's basically about the same height, maybe a little higher than the one next door. But except for the fact he threw a bunch of organic clippings and things onto it, which killed some of the grasses. It's been holding very well ever since. So.
Okay, so, so we will follow up on our end, with the paperwork, and if it wasn't delivered, we'll make sure it gets
Yeah,
delivered.
We didn't receive anything, so.
And,
Yeah, we'll do
our
this.
schedule is on the city's website. Do you mind sharing that paper copy, just as a point of reference? The
Sure.
commission,
Thank you.
commission
No
meets
problem.
twice a month,
Yeah, Mondays.
Mondays.
Well, Mondays are tough for me because I'm an assessor and my meetings are Mondays too. As I came from a historical commission meeting.
Well, you
you
can,
can
Ms.
keep
Kaufman
that.
Oh,
can
thank
keep that
you.
too,
Yeah,
just as a point of reference. This one, we have our regular meetings.
Okay.
Okay.
And we also
How high
have,
do you do that?
in order to be included on
This
an
is this
agenda,
here?
Yeah, because
we
this
have to
is,
receive it by the
this is
corresponding
from
date.
July of last year. and
I see.
Right.
Because we need
Very
time
steep.
to
Right,
look
now
at
it
it
is,
in
I'm trying
advance
to
of the
get a
meeting.
grasp of where we're at.
This is the
From the
corresponding
screen.
date.
Right.
Yes, so like
at the
to be
very bottom.
included on tonight's
The bench
agenda,
would
Oh, I
be.
see.
something would have filed by,
Okay.
and
It's-
then
it's a little
there's a
better than this
legal
now, by the way.
Okay.
notice that goes to
From
the paper.
from this view, it's very
and that's
difficult, but I believe the bench
date
is
of
right about
publication.
here.
Because that
We're
usually
gonna
needs
create
at
the
least
bench
48 to
across
72
here,
hours.
and do the soccer
in
and
advance.
vegetate this all below here. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
We've done this many places as well as we've done a lot of stream bank stabilizations the same way, which work very well. But, you know, we firmly believe the best way to stabilize something is with vegetation, not with hard armor, because it lasts forever if you do it correctly.
Do you
if
have a
you-
card? with you?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. I'll keep that for the, just one. Thank you. Oh.
I feel like a dealer.
Yes. All right. Make sure we have
Blackjack
your
in.
contact information.
So-
All right.
So we'll get done here, we'll have a conversation, we'll start getting our pricing together, and if it all comes together, we'll give you, we'll definitely give you a plan one way or the other before October 1st,
Okay.
and we'll take it from there.
All right. Do you have any questions for us this time? Okay. All right. Well, thank you both for coming in
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you for the information.
Appreciate it.
If you have any questions, contact the Conservation Office.
Okay, great, thank you.
Is Ken gonna be around much longer? 'Cause-
Ken is going to be around until Thursday, and then Ms. Traggart is our new agent.
Hey, nice to
Meet
meet you.
you.
Ms. Traggart.
Hi there.
Hi, nice to meet you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Oh, sugar. Okay. I want to hold this meeting. All right. Open space updates? Anything on Echodale West? Cassie, this is one that's gonna fall into your wheelhouse
Okay.
sooner than later. And Lathrop? No updates on either? All right. Rapid fire compliance updates. Are we ready?
Ready?
There should be one that's, I gave you in that folder, just because I can't remember which one it is,
Okay.
but it's in there.
Okay, so we only have one, well, I'm just gonna get, does anyone else have any updates here?
Not as far as I know.
No? Alright. So, no updates with the exception of item 6E, Logan Properties, yes, Inc., off O'Neill Street, Mass DEP file number 151287, construction of new commercial facility with BVW impacts and restoration. The permit will expire July 11th, 2021. The commission received a SWIP inspection report dated Friday, September 6th. And the site remains in the same condition. And apparently we got a picture of a 6-point buck.
There's lots of footprints in there.
I'm guessing 6-point, based on what I can see in that.
Please meet my new associate who has been watching over the site. Yes, that's who replaced Peter.
A little cheeky.
It's a great photo. Okay.
We do, according to the email, there was a request for certificate of compliance for the bank. Is that somewhere else? Do we need to
Seen it,
discuss
right?
a
I don't
site
think
Look at
we
the last
Oh,
page.
okay.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
discussed.
Oh, it is
site
on
visit.
the-
So this would be on our next agenda.
Oh, she's not.
So, what is general availability for a site visit at 19 River Street?
What's the
And
one?
I can just say that my availability is lacking. I could probably drive one, but not with the children.
Brian to the visit.
Won't be the first time.
It would not.
This weekend is probably out for me.
Definitely out for me.
Try an evening.
We cannot do Saturday morning or Saturday. We could do Saturday afternoon.
Try it before our next meeting on that Monday, or that's hard to get there and back.
I think we could do that.
Next Monday?
Mhm.
Is there a number
What
day
day is our
that is?
next meeting?
No, the 23rd.
Monday the 23rd before the next meeting.
Okay.
So,
5:15.
so Cassie, can you reach out to Mr. LeGrand? We should have his email address on file. And confirm September 23rd at 5:15 PM for the site visit. I'm assuming we have all the paperwork, so that would be followed by, be included on the September 23rd agenda at 6 PM under request for certificates of compliance.
Okay.
And those do not require public notice. They just need to be on the agenda.
Okay.
So there's no legal ad in the paper, no butters.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. We
I
have no
believe
other
the finance
updates.
committee approved the funding for the White Brook, Broad Brook maintenance.
Yes, they did. Which one is that one?
It is G.
Maintenance dredging, yes. Okay.
Sorry, what did you say, Jay?
I believe the finance committee approved the CPA funding for the dredging of the siltation areas. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. Be great if it could move forward before their permits expire. Okay. Alright, no, any updates on One Ferry Street or Holistic Industries?
At the last meeting, we had been asking about
Compass?
the status of a stormwater pollution prevention plan for,
One Ferry Street.
One Ferry Street.
Tracks 1 and 2.
yep,
I don't think anything has come through. Cassie, can you put that on your list to follow up on? So that's items 6I and J. They're two different permits for two different tracts of land under the kind of the same project.
Mhm. I'm just looking for updates, general updates.
They, yes, and then they started work, but they owe us their stormwater pollution prevention plan, their SWIP.
And probably several stormwater reports, right?
Depending on when they started, yes.
sometimes I hit the button with my wrist and it sends the cursor going wherever it was.
Okay. Anything else at this time?
And I assume we haven't heard anything about the pump house and the change for locking
No.
up the chamber.
Yeah, it's still fenced off. I haven't seen any work happening there because they're trying to determine how to solve that problem.
Right, so So I guess things that we'll be looking for in the future for items P and Q are that the orders of conditions, that the permits have been recorded and that the commission's received that information.
Sorry, P&Q,
Under compliance updates,
Mhm.
so the Easthampton School Committee, DEP file number 151305 for the new school building at 200 Park Street. And then also for the city of Easthampton, DEP file number 151306 for maintenance activities within River Street, so very near, well, where we will be going before our next hearing. Or, so that's when you would probably follow up with the city engineer. And then the school committee. The chair of the school committee is listed as the contact. So maybe start with Jeff Bagg.
okay.
Did we continue the bundle banner? Or should
Yes,
we-
to 923.
Okay. That's right.
Yeah, it leapfrogged. I had that moment of panic. Yes, okay. Mr. Patrick,
Yes.
you're all set.
No,
Okay.
but you can keep going, please.
Okay. General business, meeting minutes, August 26th, 2019. Dan, did you get that Jess Harwood was absent with notice tonight?
Don't miss them.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes of 8/26/2019.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay, please pass those along to Cassie.
Approved as written.
As written, yes. We do not have the appropriate quorum for August 12th. So we will have to continue this item to our next meeting when hopefully 4 people who are present can act on it. But there are some edits to the date that I will take with me in May. Okay.
Who do we need for that one, do you know?
I
You,
was,
Jay, Julie, and Jess Harwood. Nope, that's a lie. You, Dan, Julie, and Jess Harwood. Jay and I were not present.
Yeah.
Here's hoping. All right. General business, the commission is in receipt of a notice of intent, Mass DEP file number 151297, filed by Easthampton Park Solar 1 LLC for solar project at Westview Terrace, map 165, lot 47, filed 4/10/2018, identified as date of filing by Mass DEP. As of this date, the applicant has not contacted the commission nor made any public notice or notified of butters. So no action is required at this time. Next item, the commission is in receipt of a request for certificate of compliance, Mass DEP file number 151224, filed by David Boyle for a lapsed and invalid order of conditions related to work for Valley Christian School on Coleman Road, map 164, lot 8. The request was filed August 27th, 2019. Mr. Boyle, do you want to say anything about this? When can we schedule a site visit with you?
Yeah, I was gonna ask two things. One, if you could, I'm out of town this week, but if you could do a site visit on the, I don't know, the 21st or the 23rd.
Well, we've already got one on the 23rd,
Right,
so
yeah.
let's look at the 21st.
Well, that's a Saturday, but,
Well, we do that.
okay. Well, no, I know, but then I heard you just a few minutes ago say not
Well, the
Saturday.
14th was a
We
problem.
can
No,
do this
just the
Saturday.
14th.
Yeah.
21st is a problem for me, but
Yeah.
I can.
Problem for me too.
But
I
if
could
you
do
guys,
the morning, or I could do the 22nd.
but if just to back up, so that order of conditions was for the Valley Christian School. It was never built. No permits were taken out, and it was never built.
Okay, so you're saying no work was done on this property?
No.
Oh.
We did work on our property, but we did not fall under the jurisdiction of the Easthampton Conservation Commission. And, because we stayed outside of the buffer. And, we have a determination of applicability from, Southampton, but we stayed out of the buffer as well.
Okay.
So, there's storage units there, there was construction.
Okay.
There's no order of conditions, no notice of intent for the storage units.
So with this request for certificate of compliance, do you have a site plan that shows that the storage units, where they are relative to the buffer zone?
In the,
Yeah, thank you. Just wondering, because that would be a useful piece of
right.
information. So you do, why not? Oh, now I know where we are. Do I? Yes. Bike paths down
Yeah,
here.
bike path goes to here, yes.
Okay. Okay.
This is the, buffer, this is the wetlands.
And
And
where's, okay, Coleman Road is here.
Right.
I
The
see.
town line is approximately right here.
Yep. Okay. Well, this is what I was
Yeah.
inquiring about, so. So here's a question, do you or a representative need to be present for us to do a site visit?
No,
Okay.
that's why, that's my second thing I was gonna say, this is a little bit straightforward once you confirm what you want to confirm.
Okay. And at the time, Kelly Ritchie, who was chair of the commission, signed off
On the building.
on the building permit
Yeah.
cover sheet.
Yeah.
Okay. And this must have been just before my time. All right, does the commission want to do a site visit? Do we want Cassie to schedule a site visit? You and I could go out there maybe next Monday,
Sure, next Monday.
and we could maybe streamline it since it's a little, so.
Sure.
That's 9:16 at, I wanna say 5.
Sure.
Be here at 4:30 and head out at 5-ish.
Mhm.
Do you want to be there?
I'll be there, I can be
Okay.
there, I can be there, yeah.
Okay. And then this will be on our September 23rd agenda.
Mhm.
Very good, thank
Okay,
you.
thank you for
Thanks so
coming
much.
in, this is helpful.
Thanks.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Pass that back to Cassie
You guys did.
before it gets
Yeah.
lost with me.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda, receipt of request for certificate of compliance, DEP file number 151291, filed by James LeGrand for replacement of a retaining wall at 19 River Street, filed September 4th, 2019. So this will also be on the September 23rd agenda. And we've already scheduled a site visit for this. Okay. Check my email.
When's the site visit for that?
That one is September 23rd at 5:15, so right before the hearing, meeting.
And we don't wanna do the one before that, the same day?
It's too much to do two disparate locations in the time before a meeting. Or, if you wanna come on Monday, you can.
I won't be here.
Oh, lucky you, okay. So, I guess an update is that, the planning department is going to renew our memberships of the MACC. And there is a fall conference on October 19th. The planning department is going to, it's in Devens, Mass. So former Fort Devens. The planning department's gonna send Cassie to this. And if anyone is interested, this is the information, and I'm just like,
Did you say they were gonna send Dan?
Cassie.
No, from our area,
No.
both of them.
What?
I don't think Mr. Buttrick is going to this conference. Alright, and just as an update, we are still awaiting, information about, who will be appointed to the open seat on the commission. There have been no updates. The update is there's no update. Deborah's waiting patiently. That, are there any other questions, comments, concerns?
How much is that thing? Do you know?
What is it?
Big bucks?
What was the question?
Are there any questions, comments? Oh, how much is the conference?
Members.
It's 120 for non-members.
But how much for members, cause we're member, I mean,
115.
115, yeah.
115 for members.
a $5 discount.
Wow, we really get a lot for our dues.
Not bad.
Motion to adjourn.
Your second, all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved at 7:12.